Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Boobity bop bop dee bop dee bop bop bop. Boobity bop bop dee bop bobbity bop beep bop bop bop. Hey everybody, live from Harlem in New York. It's me. It's Alex, and this here is the Ramble. Here's the problem. Larry Bubbles Brown has vertigo.
The room was spinning. So I don't know. If I turn my head a certain way, I get a little dizzy. So maybe it's a brain tumor.
Yeah, we do this in the morning, so I'm eating my raisin Danish right now. Marjorie goes up the street and gets raisin Danishes for the week, and then we microwave them. And
Sounds great.
this week, the raisin Danishes look like a turd emoji.
Jesus.
Anyway, so that's why I'm chewing, see?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was hungry. How are you doing?
Other than the vertigo, I think I'm okay. So.
You woke up this morning with vertigo.
Yeah.
Well, it was sometimes when you get out of bed, that's the one time you'll feel it, you know? Then how do you feel now? Is it okay? Is it settled?
Yeah, just if I turn my head a certain way, it seems to start up again. I think I've had this before.
At our age, all we do is when we talk to each other, we do an organ recital, you know.
I know. So we should probably stay away from health issues.
Why not? That's all we've got in our boring lives, isn't it?
Yes, I had a good little San Francisco quiz for you. If you could see how well you remember. If you when you walk down Van Ness Avenue from Bay Street to all the way up to Market, I think it's close to 30 blocks. There's 7 streets cross streets that have 4-letter names.
Oh,
how many
boy.
can you name?
Oh, boy. 4-letter names?
Mm-hmm.
You know something? As I'm chewing, I have a problem with San Francisco. And that is, I can't remember all the streets, you know?
Okay.
I mean, I know that, for instance, if you go out and you drive past the park all the way, what is that street that goes down after the park? You just drive down it?
The one that goes out towards the park is
The one that
Fulton.
No. There's one street that goes, and then all the other streets intersect it.
The Park Presidio, 19th Avenue.
That's not it. I'm trying to remember what the street is. But anyway, as you go down it, all the streets are in alphabetical order.
Oh yeah, the cross. That's 19th Avenue.
19th Avenue.
Kind of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You start off with it's Anza, Balboa, Cabrillo, and then there's a couple where it's not alphabetical.
And then it
Kind
picks,
of like they just gave up, and then it goes. Then you go, okay, I can go this. It goes up to Kirkham, Lawton, Judah, Kirkham, Lawton, Moraga, Noriega,
now you
Ortega,
see here,
Pacheco, Taravel, the rest of Uloa, UV is, what's the V one?
Vienna, maybe? Or, I can't remember.
Vienna. Mostly Spanish names.
I used to also call that street the street of dictators, because they have Castro and they have Noriega, and they have, So, well, anyway, you did pretty well on that.
I did, yes.
But I still can't even think of streets with 4 letters. Wow. What a great trivia question that is, at least for me, because
Well, one of the 4-letter streets would be in the Maltese Falcon.
Really? Maltese Falcon was the name of somebody in the Maltese Falcon?
That probably. Actually, it's another. You might consider him a dictator, a president.
Polk?
No, that's one of them. No, it's Bush.
Bush. Okay, but Polk?
Polk, that's a good one. Yeah,
You're saying 4 letters.
You got 2 of the 7.
Mm-hmm.
Bush and Polk.
Oh God, what are they? Come on, you make me feel horrible.
Let's see. It's Clay,
Mm-hmm.
Pine,
Mm-hmm.
Bush, Polk, Fell, Turk, and Eddie.
Wow. You know something? I would have never gotten those because if something happened to me where I've had trouble remembering the names of streets. I mean, I know that I lived at on North Point, and I used to turn on Divisadero to go there.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember the street that's after Divisadero going towards the Palace of Fine Arts. Do you remember the name of that street?
Towards the Palace of Fine Arts, there's Bay Street.
Bay Street, that's it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was a big one, yeah.
But that's only a 3-letter word, isn't it? Yeah.
That's a 3-letter, yeah. So you don't remember the streets because you don't drive here anymore. See, I'm going down Van Ness all the time.
That could be. I mean, I would know if I had gotten, let's say I rented a car. I don't even know if I can drive anymore, but I rented a car, and I went down to that part of San Francisco. I would know exactly where to go. I just can't tell you what street.
Yeah, you'd find your way around.
Oh, yeah, no, that wouldn't be a problem. That would not be a problem. But remembering them is a problem, So you just made me feel really old. How do you feel about that, huh?
I ruined your day.
Well, I'm through with my raisin Danish, so all is good now. I'm hopped up on raisins.
And sugar.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a morning ritual that you adhere to?
Just a little Diet Coke.
A Diet Coke?
Or Coke Zero.
So I take it you're not a coffee drinker.
No, but I think I do need. That's probably where I need caffeine.
Well, that's where you get your
caffeine.
Yeah, that's where you get your caffeine from. Yeah.
Although I don't know, they never put how much caffeine's in a Coke, so I don't know how much is in it.
You can look on the side of it and it'll tell you. They have to list it,
Okay.
And also they list. Do you know on those things where they list the ingredients or whatever? They always list them in the order of how much there is in there. So if caffeine is like number 2, you can figure it's pretty strong. I don't have a caffeine drink in front of me right now. Otherwise, I have a coffee I'm drinking. And I make my coffee, and I only drink about a half a cup, and then I put it in the refrigerator, and then I drink it cold. I love it. I love it cold. But I think for the same reason I like Diet Coke.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do Diet Coke anymore. I got off of that. But,
really? It's an addiction. So.
Now, which do you prefer, Diet Coke or Coke Zero?
Coke Zero is better.
You know what they did? For years, they've been trying to formulate a Diet Coke. First, it was Tab, which was
God-awful.
God-awful, okay? It made you feel like you were drinking a diet soft drink and you had to suffer for it. Yeah,
no, that was bad.
It was horrible. And then they improved on the mixture and they came out with Diet Coke. Well, the Diet Coke was closer to the original formula and tasted like the original formula. And then they came out with Coke Zero, and that tastes just like regular Coke. I think I could put regular Coke in front of you and put Coke Zero in front of you, and you could taste both. And I'd, have them disguised so you wouldn't know which was which, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Well,
yeah.
Love Coke.
You love Coke.
Always been addicted to it.
Yeah,
Used to drink 12,
I have
12
two.
cans a day when I was a kid.
I have two, but not the drink. Oh, boy. So how have you been, Bubs?
Okay. Just, you get bored when you get older, so.
You get bored when you get older?
Yeah.
Get as old as I am, and you don't even get out of bed. You just sit in bed all day and watch television.
Do you do that?
Yeah, well, I don't walk that well. I walk, if you saw me, you'd say, okay, you walk okay. But I use a cane because I'm afraid of falling. So for my balance, I use the cane. And I don't really use the cane that much. It's usually off the ground when I'm walking, but I just like to know I have it. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing physical therapy, which they give me, what do you call it? I go down and see them, and then they give me stuff to do at home, and I'm a bad boy. I haven't been doing the home stuff. I did it for a while, and then I got tired of it,
It gets boring.
Yeah. I mean, the only exercise you do is running.
I run.
And you're still running every couple of days?
Every other day. So, but that's a thing about. I always worry about falling, so I'm very careful.
Oh, really? Have you fallen?
I used to fall a lot, so that's when I wore headphones. I wasn't paying up much attention, and
yeah,
have a couple of falls a year. So, as you get older, a fall can be deadly.
Now, you live at what intersection?
I'm near Chestnut and Goff.
And Goff? What about Lombard?
Yeah.
Are you close to Lombard?
Yeah, I live in Lombard, yeah.
So, so I kind of know where you are now. I've never been over there.
Yeah, I was long, well, I think I lived about less than a mile from your old place.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So when you run, where do you go?
Fort Mason.
Fort Mason.
After the Golden Gate Bridge.
Is that Fort Mason? I guess it is.
Yeah.
Although, wasn't it called Fort Point? I don't know.
Fort Point is that's the one under the bridge. Fort Mason's back towards the Safeway area.
Oh, I see. You're down in the where all those buildings are and everything down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So you run around down there, and how long is your run?
A little over an hour.
Yeah. And it's how many miles?
A little, about 6.
Wow. You're good. And do you feel it keeps you healthy, or is it just kind of an addiction that you have? Because it
is kind of an addiction, yeah, and it does healthy. It definitely keeps the weight off. So
yeah, but what you're doing is you're running because you're addicted and to the endorphins that it creates.
Yeah.
And so, if you go a couple of days without running, do you have withdrawal symptoms?
I get very depressed if I miss a run, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard from people, because what you're doing is you're withdrawing from endorphins. So my suggestion to you is before every run, do heroin. that will supply you with... So
I've never even, my entire life, I don't think I've ever seen heroin.
I don't think I have either. To be honest with you, no. I've been in places where people were doing heroin, but I didn't see them doing it. I remember once...
So I think we've both known people that have done heroin, right?
Yes, I have, yeah. In fact, the one I was going to mention is I went over to a little party at the hotel room of Dr. John, the singer and pianist and so on. Mac Rebenak. And I went over to his hotel room, And he had a bunch of people there. And I went into the bathroom, and there was blood on the mirror. And that was from somebody shooting up in there. So
Jesus.
that's as close as I've come to heroin. But I've never sought it out because I didn't feel. I mean, at this point in my life, why not? You know? But I didn't like the form of addiction that it took. If you do it right, you probably won't die from it, you know. But you do get addicted to it because what happens is it replaces the endorphins in your body, and your body says, "Oh, I'm getting endorphins." And it shuts down its endorphin-producing abilities. And that's where you get that addiction to heroin, where people just got to have it. Because if they quit, it takes a year for the endorphins to kick back in. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that's the reason why it's so addictive, is you're just addicted to the endorphins it gives you. And it's kind of, you know, I don't want to be.
There are some famous heroin addicts, aren't there?
There are people, and I hate to say this because people are going to say, "Oh, you know, you're encouraging people to use heroin." Heroin is not the worst drug out there. In fact, it is probably the easiest one for the body to absorb. Okay, because it recognizes it as an endorphin. But what happens is that where was I going with this? I can't.
Well, I think there are people that have lived a long time that were heroin addicts.
There was what they called weekend junkies. People who would just do it on the weekend, and then during the week they go to work, they'd be functional and everything like that. Come the weekend, they're shooting up.
Jeez, really?
Yeah, that's what they were called, weekend junkies. And you can do that. I mean, you know, if you want to do it, but you know, why have to do a drug? You know, as part of your life. I mean, I loved cocaine for years, still do actually, but I never found I couldn't quit it, or that I was that much on it that I had to keep doing it. I was doing it all the time. I went down to Florida, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Imagine in Miami not being able to find coke.
Really? You couldn't find it there?
But I didn't. I stopped doing coke when I hit the Panhandle in Florida. Just that was the last of it, and then I stopped doing it. And there were no withdrawal symptoms, you know, because I don't think I was doing. I was doing it constantly, but I wasn't doing it that much. All right. So consequently, I just quit it, stopped doing it, and came back to California, got my job back, didn't do it then. And one New Year's Eve, you know, we had my little New Year's get-together. I went, well, you know something, why don't we do a little coke, see what happens here. And I'm figuring that it's going to be kind of like the first time I ever did it, and that it was going to suddenly be a great rush and so on and so forth, because after a while it diminishes in its value. And I did it, and I suddenly realized I was picking up where I left off. It wasn't like, so I just never did it again. And that was it. It was useless to me. And you never got hooked on anything, did you?
No. I avoided drugs.
You avoided all drugs? Not even little...
Yeah, I think when I got into... Everyone was doing cocaine in the 80s. I tried it twice. It didn't do anything for me. So.
Really? It didn't jazz you up or anything like that?
No.
Oh, wow. And
I could see where I actually had it must have been for a dental thing. I had some codeine once. Mm-hmm. I started taking those, and I realized, wow, those made me feel really good. So I could see why people could get addicted to those.
Yeah.
I guess that's an opiate, right?
That's an opiate. You're right. But, you know, I mean, Marjorie is on a lot of heavy ones, you know. because of her back and just to prevent the pain. They're pain pills. But she is very careful about it and makes sure that she only takes it when she has pain, not because she wants another one of those pills. And her doctors, her pain doctors, oversee her very carefully to make sure she isn't getting addicted. So I feel very safe with her doing those things. But, you know, I mean, she has a really painful back situation. So what the hell?
A lot of those can be brutal.
Oh, absolutely brutal.
Howard Hughes was a codeine addict.
Was he a codeine addict?
Yeah.
He didn't do anything else? Was codeine his thing?
That was it, yeah, but he did a lot of codeine.
Did he shoot it up, or did he just ingest it?
He shot it up, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he was serious about it.
Very serious, yeah.
Yeah, there was a weird man.
Genius,
yeah. But weird. I mean, I can understand how he could be a genius and be weird, you know. That doesn't...
Well, he made airplanes, movies.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think of Elon Musk?
Elon, I don't know. He seems like he's kind of a savant, isn't he?
I think... well, you know, he's got... What has he got? He's on the spectrum, okay? And he... I don't know if I call him a genius. You know, I don't like to throw that word around. They use that word too much. I mean, how many times have you heard somebody refer, oh, he's such a genius? No, he's not a genius. He's just good at what he does, you know. And in his case, it's strange. I mean, he built electric cars, okay, but he didn't get the idea for the electric car. I think somebody else had already built that car, and he bought it from them. And then SpaceX... I mean, he's the brains behind starting SpaceX, but I don't think he's the brains behind it working. I think there's a whole crew of people there sending those rockets up who are the people truly responsible for that.
Yeah, he might be like Steve Jobs, who other people made all the shit that he gets credit for.
Jobs was a little different. Jobs had an ability... That's an important ability. I had a friend who had this with a company, and that is he didn't know how to put together a computer, okay, but he knew what he wanted in it.
Yeah, he knew what he wanted.
Yeah,
right.
And so he was great. I called him the greatest IKEA designer. You know, I mean, he designed all this. He didn't create all. He created this stuff in his mind. He said, "I want a little thing that will play every music I have on in my library." And so the people at the company came up with it. And he came up, many times he would come up with the design. But that's where his genius really was the design and the concept. I mean, let's face it, the iPhone has changed the world. Okay? It's changed the way we communicate with each other. So, I mean, what can you say, right? So he wasn't he was a genius. He was something else, and I don't know if we have a term for it, but he came up with a lot of good ideas. And the idea of the iPhone, you know, he probably said to somebody, I want a phone, I want a camera, I want this, I want it to be able to do this. And he made it all come to pass. And when I got my first iPhone, I said, this is a game changer, you know. And now, I mean, you go on a bus or you at an airport or whatever, what's everybody doing?
Yeah.
They're looking at their phones. Except for Larry Brown, who doesn't have one of those kind of phones.
I can look at my flip phone.
I don't know how you even got a flip phone. They don't even make them anymore, do they?
And they're actually getting more popular.
Why are they getting more popular?
They said a lot of the younger people don't like the internet and the grid. They're getting off the grid, so they're using flip phones.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess you're ahead of your time, Bubs.
Once again, I've broken the barrier.
Yeah. I think you're just the way you are because you want to keep your reputation going. Yeah. But anyway,
What reputation?
Yeah, we run out of time here as usual. Okay. We always run out of time. But let's do this again next week, okay, Bubs?
We shall, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, for about the 260th time, Larry Bubbles Brown. Thank you, Larry.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Record.
Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And thank you so much, Larry. Appreciate it. Love having you here, as always. Let me see here. Let me turn up my earphones a little bit so I can hear a little better. There we go. Okay. Hi, how are you? I wasn't here last night because, see, I had some work done down here. And it's all darkened and black and blue and all kinds of things like that. So anyway, what it was is I had to have my, I had a pain in the tooth. When I would tap on it or whatever, it would hurt. And so I immediately went up to my dentist who is up in Scarsdale. And she looked at it and said, well, you know, it could be a cavity. It could be a bad tooth. But she said, it looks to me like it might actually be all the stuff in between that had built up in plaque and all kinds of things, I guess. So she got in there and she put Novocaine in me so that I felt like I had so much Novocaine I couldn't go down on a woman. I'd have to go up on her. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, so it was a real deal where had to dig down deep, and then she used a laser to burn stuff away or to, I don't know, to fuse stuff up. I have no idea. And then when I leave, she says, don't eat on the front of your mouth for 3 weeks. I'm going, how can I not? You know, but so far I've been good about it. All right. Anyway, so today we had lunch with our good friends, the Winers, Steve and Lori, and they've been friends of mine for years. And I met him first, and then he introduced me to Shecky, and I was introduced to Steve by what is now his wife, Lori, who wanted me to come over as a birthday present for his birthday party. And so I came over as a birthday present. She just got a hold of me out of a clear blue sky, but I thought it was so unusual, and she was so nice about it, and I knew she wouldn't take no for an answer. So I just went along with it, and the crux of what really happened was the next thing she asked me to do was to come because Steve wanted me to meet his friend, who was also a fan of mine, named Rick Scheckman. And so I was Rick Scheckman's birthday present. So I was a birthday present twice. Is that all I was good for, is being a birthday present? Anyway, so the last time we went to eat over there, she brought out so much food. Luckily there were like 6 or 7 of us there, and we just ate this ton of food. She just can't bring out just a little bit of food. So she said to me this time, we'll only have 2 dishes, and that's it. Okay, so we go over, and Steve puts down a dish with a potato on it, and he says, that's your dinner, because we heard that you felt we fed you too much food. And I went, okay. So now she brings out a few things, and, well, it's a few things, and then it's another few things, and then it's another few things. But God, is she the hostess or what? She is just the queen of all hostesses. She could write a book on hosting parties for people. She couldn't write a book on how to just serve them enough to eat, but she's really good at it. So the last time I told this story about being too much food, they heard about it, and they said, oh, you felt we gave you too much food, huh? So we went over today, and she gave us, I think, the right amount. I mean, we ate a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and because I can't eat in front, I couldn't. There was enough food there that I could eat in the back. So thank you so much, Lori and Steve. I had a wonderful day, and so did Marjorie. And they're lovely people, And Lori is the consummate host. Okay, well, I guess it's time to admit these people and let them in. Here they come, ladies and gentlemen. Our citizen panel is assembling or popping up in front of you. We got Jeff, and we've got Kevin, who's trying to figure out why his equipment isn't working, and Josh. Hello, Josh, and Charlie. Hello, everybody. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Okay, and Charlie, you okay?
Yep.
You got audio there? This is an audio check for everybody. Hello, Jeff.
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, and Kevin?
Check.
Oh, boy. So anyway, I took last night off, and, I kind of enjoyed taking it off. But the reason I didn't do it is I probably could have done the show, but I didn't know in the afternoon how I would feel, how my mouth would feel, because I still had this massive amount of Novocaine in it. And I figured better to not do the show than to do it, But tonight, of course, I feel much better today than I felt yesterday before I went to the dentist. So, I just hate dentistry at my age only because I don't want to spend money on it. Because who knows? I spend, let's say I spend $4,000 on a implant, okay? And suppose I die day after tomorrow. Was it worth it? So at my age, you think twice whether you need the dental surgery or not. But if I live to be 100, then I'm going to wish I had the work done, right? So so I do it. Anyway, so how are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing all right.
Anything new in your craw about what's going on in this world?
Well,
It's been an exciting evening.
Huh?
Yeah.
It has been an exciting evening.
Why? Did I miss something?
Josh?
Well, you might have. I mean, we fired quite a few senior members of the military in the last, I don't know.
I saw something
hours.
about a general being let go.
Well, we
6.
didn't just fire a general. We fired 4 or 5, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Really?
Getting rid of
And-
anybody
and-
that might defy him.
And 3 JAGs. So there's no law in military right now.
Fired all the top JAG officers. We fired the chief of naval operations, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the commanding general in charge of the Air Force.
Well, I always liked the JAG officers because you could call them jack-offs.
Well, as a matter of
That's
fact,
what
there's a
Hegseth calls them.
clip going around of the Secretary of Defense calling him just that.
Really?
He's such a professional guy. He's a warrior.
I don't
This sounds
understand.
awfully familiar.
I don't understand any of this. Okay, I mean, can this happen in a democracy, Josh? I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, the power to fire these people, legitimately rests there. I don't think that the firings are unconstitutional. I think a heck of a lot of the other stuff that's been done is. I mean, I think that, the president has this power, but, in a democracy is the question. I mean, it's certainly up to the people to decide whether or not they think it's a good idea or not. I mean, there can be pushback. Even though the president has the power to do something, there can be pushback about whether or not, it should have been done. And, Congress always controls the power to fund the military, for example, and the people control the power over who's in office, for as much as some of these folks would want to return to, the old days or whatever, during the founding period, for example, they really didn't want the president to have the power to fire generals. They didn't even want Washington to have it. Matter of fact, in some ways, he didn't. The Continental Congress controlled the hiring and firing of generals, and the states controlled the appointment of all officers below a general. So Washington got what he wanted a lot. So I don't want to make it sound like he didn't have any, like he just took people that he didn't want or anything. But sometimes he did, and sometimes he wanted to get rid of people, and the Congress didn't want to for political reasons. But in our current setup, I think it's well established practice that he can fire these people. But why would you need to? I mean, nothing has happened there's been no military disaster or war that was missed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's
He's
no
doing it to put his
legitimate.
people in place and
There's
start
yeah,
his
right.
regime.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's no legitimate reason for it. I use the word legitimate. I mean, the reason that it's being done is, I mean, I think we all know what. Look, I told Kevin earlier. I said from the beginning, and I still sort of roll my eyes at this every time somebody mentions it on a morning show or whatever, when they act like they are just accepting that Trump serves 4 years and then that's it. We're moving on. Who's next? He's not. He's not. He's going to try and serve another term.
Okay, but how much damage do you think he's managed to do so far?
Well, he'll do a lot.
Oh, he's done a lot.
Yeah.
And like what he's done with the military right now, the exposure that we have right now is ridiculous. He has nobody to replace these people. He's putting them up for audition. And one has been replaced. The other 5 are open positions. And I heard that the Chinese government is doing unprecedented war exercises off the Pacific right now. And they're probably just sitting there going, okay, they look pretty weak now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's scary shit.
No, I mean,
I hate to be an alarmist or whatever, but it's getting scary shit.
First of all, I mean, we just take the damage he has done to the reputation of the United States with other countries.
Exactly.
We have lost goodwill, almost every piece of goodwill we ever had. Okay? Yep. And he's managed to do that in a month.
Yep.
He's extorting Ukraine right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
He says if you don't go with it, he's already called him a dictator, big deal, whatever. But
well, that's not a big. That is a big deal.
Well, it is a big deal, yeah. But
to say
that's the least of what he's doing. He's requiring them. You know, he wants them to give up the 20% that they've already taken, and he wants all the minerals, 50% of the minerals that they produce. That's fucking extortion.
It is.
And if he doesn't do it, hell's going to pay. And he's going to have Putin on his side to do that.
Well, to begin with...
why are we fucking snoking up with Putin? It's unheard of.
Look, to begin with, I saw a thing that Bernie Sanders put on the air the other day, or on YouTube, in which he talked about Putin and about Trump's love of Putin. He said, but the man he loves is a killer. He's a dictator. He is a violent dictator who poisons people. Poisons people.
Yeah, throws them out of windows.
Throws them out of windows. We could go on and on about how he maintains his power, and he just loves Putin. Well, I'm sorry, that's not the kind of guy that Americans would love.
Well, Putin loves that he loves him.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
he's working him.
Well, he's
a tool.
Trump is Putin's bitch.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, how much longer do we have to sit here talking about this? I mean, it's disgusting. You know, and yet here we go. You know, and what I'm saying is he's created so much bad will that if tomorrow somebody else took over the country and reversed all of our attitudes towards other countries, it would take forever to restore that. Anyway.
Right. They won't trust us.
Yeah, they won't trust us from here on in. They see what a fragile democracy we have, and that it can be taken over by a bunch of people who really want to just take over the country and cause a situation where you've got kind of you call it a democracy, but it isn't anymore. And even if you replace it tomorrow with somebody fine who wants to do all the right things, to get that reputation back. They'll just say, hey, all it takes is one new person in office, and then all of a sudden we're in the same situation again.
Can't trust any treaties we sign.
Right, right. And so what do we do to recreate that confidence? I think one of the things we need in this country, and I don't know if Josh would agree with it, is that in a lot of other democracies in this world, every now and then the leader has to go through a vote of confidence because he's lost some confidence. And that if he loses if he wants to get the confidence of the people or test the confidence of the people, he can run for office whenever he wants to. Am I right about that, Josh? Pretty much in England, the prime minister can run for office whenever he wants to, whenever he feels that the people are on his side, for instance.
All the European countries have a little bit of their own.
Don't you wish we
spend
had
on
that?
Things or whatever.
Don't you wish we had that, and that we could force a vote of confidence on a president?
Well, I mean, we have that through impeachment. I mean, but I'm not a big fan of the parliamentary prime minister system where, Great Britain changes prime ministers 3 times in 3 months, for example, like they did last year or whatever. I think that's more unstable than anything, but what we have here is a system that is designed well and holds up fine for centuries, but we have the people are just simply not holding lawmakers accountable for their jobs, and many lawmakers are just abdicating responsibility. I mean, there was this article yesterday that I heard talked about on the news where this reporter, I don't remember who it was, has this op-ed talking about how there's been a collapse of one of the political parties in the United States of America, and you would think that they were going to say the Democratic Party has collapsed, and they're not saying that. They're arguing that the Republican Party has collapsed. And I would disagree. The Republican Party hasn't collapsed. The Republican Party has conformed.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party has collapsed because they're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Now, I know they have no power, but they're not doing any of the stuff that I've been telling you for weeks they should be doing. And the Republican Party has just conformed. They haven't collapsed. They've just conformed to a new line of thinking. They've given up all their power and consolidated it into one person. And they refuse to do anything no matter what the one person does. And the check on that is the people. So if the people if the people do something about it, it can go away. But if the people don't do anything about it, then that's the problem. I mean, the constitutional system works fine, but it is now and always has been a sort of a sink or swim system. If you don't swim, we'll sink. I mean, so the fact of the matter is we've been swimming for a few hundred years, and now all of a sudden everybody seems perfectly content not to. Well, not everybody, but, enough people that, I mean, there are some signs that it's starting to change a little bit, which is why some of these moves have probably been made, today, because they want to keep shaking it up while they can. But, I mean, I know the first major round of polling and things to come out is all showing, like 4 and 5 points of approval rating slides and things like that for the Trump administration. And most people that have changed their minds about approval in those polls have cited the economic reasons as why. They're saying we haven't seen him do anything about economic prices and things like that, which is why we voted for him. So he's doing all this other stuff, so people are starting to notice. So if they keep going in this direction, maybe the people will actually say, we didn't really want all this other stuff. We were looking for the economic model, and it's not happening. So we'll see. It's up to the.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
yeah.
but you know, we're only just over a month into his time in office. He's still got another 3
He's got
years and
47 more months.
yeah,
Right.
he's got 47 more months.
Yeah, but what can stop all this is enough outcry from the people to scare the lawmakers, specifically senators, into stopping their complete and utter acquiescence. They can change parties in the midterms. But they can woe him up way before
But
that
the
with
problem.
just enough
Yeah.
pressure on lawmakers to push back.
But you talk about problems that we have. I think one of the major problems, I bet Patrick would agree with this, is that here we're a bunch of people that agree with each other, except for Patrick. Patrick happens to be a conservative, but a reasonable conservative. I don't want you to all go boo because it's the knee-jerk reaction that you're supposed to do. But everybody else here, we all agree with that, right? And we can't imagine anybody else feeling other than we do. But the fact is, there are people out there who go, oh, he's making nice with Putin. That's good.
Jeez, I don't think so.
Oh, I think so. No, because you don't, we tend to hang around people we agree with, all right? We tend to hang around people who have the same tastes we do, same musical taste, same food, taste in food, so on. And we got to remember there's that whole other people out there that, we'd be horrified to even hang out with them, So I'm just saying that to expect that there's going to be this big hue and cry against Trump in another couple of months because everything's going wrong. I mean, yes, it's got to bake a little bit before it really happens, because in baking, it'll have time for people to realize, hey, we don't have a military anymore. Hey, I didn't get my Social Security return back. I didn't get my money because there weren't enough people to handle it, and on and on and on. But it's going to take a while for that to bake. And then the question is, how many of those people are going to somehow blame it on the Democrats or still blame it on Biden, or, who knows how they're going to react to it. But it's going to take a while before anything starts
I
starts
disagree
happening.
with you about Social Security. The first Social Security check that doesn't show up, seniors are going to go wild.
Yeah, but what are we going to do? Boy, we're tough.
Well,
I can barely walk right now. What about my other fellow seniors? I mean, in the old days, I would be out there protesting. Okay, that was my way of doing things. I would protest. I was in Chicago protesting, and I would always get out, and it was a good time for me. But I was 35. I didn't mind going out in the cold and demonstrating and so on. But hey, I'm 85. I can't do that. So if you think that seniors, the very people who are going to be affected by something like them fucking you over on your Social Security, doing anything, they're not going to do anything. Basically,
I can run.
You can run. Also, I think old people should be. I think old people should be feared because we're towards the end of life. We don't mind, and we know we're going to die. So if we're going to die, why not die for something we believe in? So I think old people actually have the ability to really put together an army that's going to scare people, but we don't. We never do.
Yeah, but I was watching Fox, and just for like 5 minutes, and then I had to turn. I was watching Hannity, but Hannity will say, "Hey, he's saving money. Isn't that what you want him to do? What, you're against saving money?" And they say these billions of dollars are saving, but they don't say where that money is going to go. Right. All of a sudden, it's just saved.
Yeah, well,
and
I mean,
that's it. Who's getting that money back?
Well, I don't think
where's that going?
We are all pretty much, except for Patrick, are pretty much on the liberal side, okay? And I don't think there's one of us, including Patrick, who would disagree that there wasn't a lot of government waste. And I'm all for getting rid of government waste. But you don't take a machine gun to ferret it out when a scalpel is needed, You don't. you have to be careful of what you do, because you start screwing up with the government, and you start screwing up with government employees. I mean, a good example were all these people they had over at the Department of Energy, and Trump was too stupid to realize they also had the nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Right? But he fired most of them. And then all of a sudden they said, gee, we better hire these people back. Oh, well, we can't hire them back. Why? Because we got rid of their email addresses, their government email addresses, and we have no way to get a hold of them.
Well,
That's the
I don't know
kind
if you guys talked.
That's the kind of stupidity.
I don't know if you guys talked about it, but then he wants to do an audit on Fort Knox.
Yeah.
An audit on Fort Knox?
He wants to do an audit on Fort Knox. And he goes, yeah, we need to make sure that whatever amount they say is there is there. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He just.
Let me question this. Does Fort Knox really have much bullion in it anymore?
Could find the gold.
Huh?
Hey, did you hear what he said, guys, to Alex? I don't know. I got to see if it's true, but I heard that Elon Musk put it out there. We may give stimulus checks out, but I thought the economy was so good. I mean, he's going to turn it around. Now he's going to hand money out. They're just lying to people just to say, make him sound like we're going to send him something so that we can keep doing a blowtorch to everything.
Yeah, well,
he's stealing a carrot that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's pretty. It sucks.
He knows people can't do math. We're going to give $5,000 checks to everybody in the country. That adds up to more money in the whole world.
He can't get fucking eggs down. He's going to give you $5,000. Give me a break.
Yeah, we can't even get eggs.
Yeah, well, the egg thing I understand because of the hens and the fact that they're being killed because they've got bird flu. I understand all that. Oh, wait a minute. What? JFK Jr. has a solution to bird flu. Have you heard it?
No, what did he say now, the madman?
Let's give all the chickens a vaccination shot.
Did he say that?
Yes.
Yeah, he said it.
Oh, he's an anti-vaxxer. Fucking Dilson.
Only for people.
Only for people.
Oh,
so
don't save the kids. The measles outbreak in Texas.
Let's give the vaccination to the chickens.
He's a fucking nimrod, really.
Yeah. But I mean, come on, the inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah.
What can I say? The
mice guarding the cheese. That's really what it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's just not. It's not good, and it's terrible. And what are we gonna say? Hi, Charlene. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay, Alex. Yeah, and it's good to see Patrick. I haven't seen him on the show in a while.
Yeah, hi, Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick.
But I do.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I do think so. I do think some of the things are very good. I think to take a look, it's like when they said defund the police. They think they want to fire all the police, stupid, right? But to go through these departments, like you're saying, and start seeing where the money going, who's working there, what they doing, is good. But there's a lot more important things to do.
Whole department to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You shut down the whole department. Nobody, even the good things, don't get done.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we've been joined by the Invisible Man.
Hello, I am invisible.
Golden Gate Bridge.
I would like to bring Patrick into this kicking and screaming. Patrick, your thoughts about all the government efficiencies that are going on?
I think it's a good thing to pick up every rock and every leaf and turn over every stone and look underneath and see what nastiness is underneath there. But one thing at a time. And before you dismiss it, make sure you know what you're looking for.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. I mean, as I say, does anybody here disagree that we don't have inefficiency in government and jobs that, that over the years we've gotten bloated because you add a job, but you don't get rid of one. And before you know it, you've got people doing jobs that are sitting in a basement and they don't do anything,
Like you said, like Pat says, you pick up the rock and look underneath it. You don't pick up the rock and throw it out.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Remember the bottom line. The $20,000 toilets before, remember in the 80s?
Yeah. I mean, and I think they found a guy that was working in the basement of the Pentagon, and they didn't know what he did, and neither did he.
And just show up every
And
day.
did they fire him? No. He just kept his job, you know. I want that job.
Well, he's been there more than 2 years.
Yeah.
He was good at it.
Well, you know something? I'll tell you, if you haven't, you know, a lot of people are saying, I don't watch the news anymore because I can't stand what's on the news. And if you're watching MSNBC, I understand you, and I'm with you all the way. But you know what I started watching at night is the CBS Evening News, which is gotten 2 new people hosting it, and it's just got a different attitude to it. I think they mentioned Trump once tonight. I mean, they were doing stories about Gaza. They were doing stories about the Arctic ice flows and how this year they have diminished by a certain percentage and so on and so forth. And they had a thing at the very beginning about the firing of people at a particular department, and a woman who had been fired in that, you know, she had only been in the job for 6 months, so they considered her dispensable because she was the newest. So that's the one they were going to get rid of. I mean, it just is a better newscast than anything I've seen on news lately. And it doesn't sit around and grouse about Trump all the time, you know. But it talked about some real issues. And I actually think you ought to, if you have a chance, watch it, you know. So anyway, where are we? Josh, anything?
Well, just people should just remember that the issue with the Musk deal and the Department of Government Efficiency or whatever, number one, it's not being done the way it was promised. Remember, there was going to be this congressional committee and all that. Okay, first of all, we haven't seen any of that. But second, the point of that is for, and I don't know why Democrats have so much trouble explaining this. The issue is who has the ability to do not the ability, but the power, okay, enumerated them to do away with these things. I mean, if this group was going around and gathering up information and writing it all down in a report and then taking it to that congressional committee and handing it over, that would be one thing.
Yeah.
In fact, that would be the constitutional way that it's supposed to be done. Okay, but just sending it in and then saying, "Oh, we don't need this anymore. We're just going to do away with this agency." That's not the way that it was supposed to be done. It's not the way we were promised, and it's not the way that is legal or constitutional. And Democrats should just be out there again explaining this stuff and scaring people with it. I mean, it's fine. So the next president, like I said, is just going to say, again, taking care of all these student loans costs a lot of money. I'm just going to sign an executive order, and I'm ordering the Department of Education, if it still exists, or whoever takes care of it anymore, we're just doing away with it. It's just, we're not collecting any more money. It's gone. It's done. I mean, we're just finished with it, and it just goes away. And we can name a couple other things like that.
If we do that, are all the people who still owe money on their student loans forgiven?
Sure, absolutely. I'm closing it down. If you can close one federal agency, why can't you close another?
Yeah.
Well, you see,
Now, I understand that these things are done by lenders, okay, and the government is the one who sets it all. I understand how it works because I have these, okay? But I'm just saying, I don't care if it's right, wrong, legal. No, that's not how they're doing it. That's my point. The president should just say, no, we're not doing it. And if anybody doesn't like it, what are they going to do? Charge me with a crime? First of all, they can't do it while I'm president. Second of all, I have immunity. So we're just not collecting any more money, period. We're not taking a single fucking dollar from anybody in this country for a student loan. We're done with it. And I mean, they just make it simple. If you can close the Department of Education without a congressional bill, a law, then why can't you close the Department of Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid or anything else that people care about? Why can't you? The question is, you can't. Or the answer is you can. I mean,
Well,
So
to begin with,
if you can do one, you can do the other.
Didn't of all these budgets have to be approved and these departments be approved by the Congress?
They always have to.
Well,
Only
then
Congress
if you want to
can
get
create.
rid of them, if you want to close them
I mean,
down like this, don't you have to
if
get their approval for that?
if only Congress can create a federal agency, then does it not stand that only Congress can eliminate a federal agency? I mean, again, when the Department of Homeland Security was created in 2002 or whatever, George W. Bush didn't just say, I hereby decree that there will be a new Department of Homeland Security that'll have its own secretary, and we're going to build this building over there, and it's going to have an assistant secretary for this, that, and yet. No. Congress created that agency.
Yeah.
And appropriated to it the money and set it up, and then they hand it to the executive and they say, this is the agency, this is its job, this is its budget. Your job as the President of the United States is to see to it that these things happen, that the laws of the land are faithfully executed. I mean, it's not, difficult. So the problem is, Democrats are apparently too stupid to be able to explain that to people in ways that they can understand. Instead, what they do is they go on podcasts and television shows and they say, oh, I'm really rooting for Canada to beat the United States in hockey, and I'm rooting for the Mexicans to really beat us in sports now because they booed our national anthem. Yay, woo, good for them. They're really speaking truth to Donald Trump's power. I mean, that's the Democratic answer right now, is to send Jasmine Crockett apparently to a fucking podcast to say that. But I'm telling you, that's really gonna win the next election. Instead of going on television and saying the things that I said they should be saying,
I don't mind the Canadians booing our national anthem. If that's the way they feel right now, I'm all for it. I just don't think it solves the problem.
No,
as you said, but I don't mind it happening. I'll tell you, in Canada, they aren't telling you this. At grocery stores, you go to a grocery store now, and they actually have a sign that says "Made in Canada, Made in USA," and you can take your choice what you want to buy. Yes,
well,
Patrick.
I mean, that's because Canada can run their business however they want. The point of that is, so far, that's the Democratic response.
Anyway,
the Democratic response to this nonsense is to say, I hope Canada beats us in a hockey game. Oh, everyone, that's really helping. That's great.
No, I don't hope they beat us in a hockey game because, quite frankly, I root for the home team, But Patrick, you got your finger up.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, when I hear people say that they want Canada to win because we're going to stick it to the United States, to Trump, automatically, I don't hear another fucking word that those people say because this is my country and that's my anthem. And it's just like with Colin Kaepernick and all them other jagoffs throughout all the different sports, they didn't like the anthem and all of that. All of a sudden, I go deaf with those people. And whatever point they're trying to make, I don't see, I don't hear, and I don't care. And to the point of Canada and the United States or U.S. goods, I've always thought, all I hear from Democrats and Republicans, depending on who's in power when, is buy American, buy American, buy American, buy American. Well, what's wrong with Canada saying buy Canadian, buy Canadian, buy Canadian? Yeah. Shouldn't you buy your own shit that you produce before you buy shit somebody else does? And whether that's Canada or China or fucking Mexico or the United States, there's nothing wrong with buying your own stuff. So, but again, when you start talking shit about my country, like, I hope they're fucking, whoever wins against the United States, whatever that is, 'cause I don't like I don't hear you anymore.
Yeah,
whatever
well,
the point,
uh,
it just automatically, I go into my hearing aid doesn't fucking work, and all I hear is your mouth moving.
Oh, well, I understand what you're saying. I think that the fact that they booed the national anthem at that one hockey game, I don't know that it happens continually at hockey games. I understand why they did it. I mean, we're putting tariffs on them. We say that we want them to be part of the United States. On and on and on. And Canadians are very proud of their country, just like you're proud of your country, and they don't like to be insulted. And they've been insulted by Trump.
I'll tell you, I go to a lot of hockey games. I've been to 12 so far this year. And a lot of them are Canadian, and they do the Canadian national anthem, and I sing that, and they do the American national anthem, and I sing that. It doesn't matter. Normally, hockey fans between Canada and the U.S. are very cordial.
Yeah.
You would think that we're all in the same country, but that one fucking thing that he started stirred them up, and they gotta say something. I didn't like it, but it's their right to do it. They were in Canada.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin.
No, I'm pretty much done.
I'm just saying.
Wait a minute.
Praying for a point.
What happened?
Wait a
The
minute.
point is, lawmaker.
Wait a minute.
What's that?
You're having some trouble there.
Your internet was getting wacky there.
Here, Josh. We can hear what you
Sound
say.
like Max Headroom.
Yeah. Maybe it was Max Headroom. I don't know. Are you okay now, Josh? Yeah.
Pretty good now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound fine now.
I'm just saying that the point, not to stray too far from the point about the hockey or whatever. The point is that's not Democratic lawmakers talking about that and supporting that is not a winning issue for
Correct.
Democratic lawmakers.
Right.
We
Again,
supposed to be talking about
Republicans didn't even have to do anything at all, and Democrats fucked up. That's what I'm saying. The reason that they are losing the game is because they're not even playing it. They don't even realize they're in a game. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. That discussion that you just had doesn't need to be had. That's not a winning issue.
By them.
I said
we can discuss it, but they need to be discussing the other shit.
I said this before, and I'll say it again, that the Democrats have been losing because the Democrats think they've got to be nice.
Which is bullshit. That's what's
I
going
don't
to
know
kill
what
them.
they think,
Hey,
That's
look
what's
who's
gonna
there.
kill them.
Look at Adrian. Hey, Adrian. How you doing, kiddo? Yeah. Yeah.
Out by the fire, I can see.
Yeah. And you having a sleepover at Dad's place?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Okay, go back in.
That's the cute element on the show. Now back to talking about what's horrible. Anyway, so it really is something. I mean, it is something that we have the Democrats. The Democrats we have to play nice. Oh, really? Really? When the other guys aren't. When they're down.
I'm starting to hear rumblings that they're going to do something or they've got something going in the background.
And then they never do it.
You know what? They take too fucking long.
Exactly.
Or you got to see Schumer jumping up and down.
No, Schumer needs to fucking go hide somewhere.
I thought he was going to fall and have a heart attack.
Well, the next time he runs for office here, I ain't voting for him. Tell you somebody else.
Isn't he a little old enough?
Huh? What?
How old is he?
Who?
Too old.
Schumer.
Schumer? I think he's 97, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah. He's just. I mean, I just find him objectionable at this point. Just go hide in a corner somewhere with your reading glasses.
He's 74, but you'd think he was 85.
And read a book called read a book called Politics for Dummies. Okay.
I mean, if, like I said before, if he's good at the administrative and things, I mean that's fine and that's needed, and they can keep him in that. But like I said, When are they going to start hitting back? When are they going to start the rallies? When are they going to start the huge rallies every 2 or 3 weeks? See, I look at this and I understand things are going really bad and he's getting away with a lot of stuff and they're waiting on the courts and the people have to push back. That's how it's going to stop. And I look at it and I see, okay, the first set of polls that came out show that he dropped 4 or 5 points in basically every poll in his approval rating in the first month. And I say to myself, so he dropped 5 points with no opposition. How many points could he have dropped if Democrats had their act together? Could they have pushed that to 10 points? I mean, I'm just saying. I think I could push it to 10 points, me personally.
Where I disagree with you, Josh, is I don't think we're ready yet to do that because I think, as I said before, I think this has to bake for a little while before we can then go, okay, so is your eggs in there? Are you have eggs anymore? Do you have what's the
damage
price?
will be done? What damage will be
I mean,
done?
why do they have to wait to ask those questions? I mean, I would just be asking them right now.
Yeah.
I don't understand how somebody gets elected president of the United States and does all the things that they've done, and since then, like 4 different planes have crashed, and no one is on TV being like, hey, this is this guy's fault. I don't care if it's his fault. Why on earth would you let something like facts get in the way of a good blame game? That's I mean, why? That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. I'm with you all the way on that one. But the thing is that, like, he got rid of a lot of the traffic air controllers now.
Right.
I mean,
and planes suddenly started dropping out of the sky. Make the correlation.
At a time when they've been saying they need more traffic controllers because there's too much business for the men to handle they've got, or the women as well. You know, you should make that case. You know, what are we doing getting rid of them at a time the planes are just falling out of the skies? You know, so I don't know.
Patrick's got his hand up again.
Huh?
Patrick's got his hand up.
Oh! Hi, Patrick. How are you? Yeah.
You know, you talk about it needs to bake for a while. I think most of the Democratic lawmakers are getting baked right now. And that's why it's taking so fucking long. They're sitting there smoking a joint, getting baked, and not paying attention to what's going on.
Well, I think the biggest problem with them is they don't know how to fight dirty. And Trump has always fought dirty and has made it almost into an art, I'll have to admit, you know? And so you have to learn how to fight dirty, you know? But
their donors don't want them to fight dirty.
You know something? Are the donors happy with them now when they lost the election? Come on, how much money did Harris have in her campaign chest?
Twice as much as Trump.
Yeah. And why couldn't she win it with that much money?
Because she blew it on ads on the Las Vegas Dome or whatever.
Because money doesn't vote, people do.
What she should have done is she should have gone on all those shows. I'll tell you one thing that Trump did, and I think it was his son that hipped him to doing it. He said, why don't you do the internet? Why don't you do a lot of these podcasts?
Joe Rogan. I mean, she didn't do
Joe Rogan. So he went and did all the podcasts, and that got him more exposure than he would have ever gotten even going on like any of the networks.
Plus the media, the free media.
Yeah. And now they can get into a press conference at the White House, but AP can't.
Yeah, he's suing AP, I think.
Well, AP is suing him.
Oh, Alex, can I say one thing? I Googled Chuck Schumer. You know he got a perfect SAT score. I cannot believe it, 69.
That was years ago when it was like, the main question was, how do you make fire with 2 rocks?
It was in hieroglyphics.
He was smart. He went to Harvard for law, though. Wow. I didn't think he was that smart of a guy. All right.
Well, I'm not saying he's not dumb. Yeah. You know, maybe he's gotten dumber as years have gone on, but he's just not a good politician for the times. Okay.
He always puts the glasses on the nose. Like,
he thinks politics are done the same way they were when he first got into the Senate, and it's not. It's a whole different ball game now, and you got to play a new game.
And Nick Trump, like even Josh, Trump always, as soon as the planes went down, he's blaming Buttigieg. He's always pointing the finger. You should just turn the tables on him. I'm not going to,
you know, well, these planes weren't coming down when Buttigieg was was handling the
16 years. We went
do you think if Chuck Schumer said, too bad the guy didn't have better aim, you think that would go over okay? Or I don't know.
No. We don't want to go there.
No,
okay.
Funny though, I still find funny that Trump can go anywhere he wants, put all these countries in danger, call people a dictator, and he's putting how many people's lives in danger?
Well, the temerity of the man for saying that Ukraine caused the war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Yeah.
Started the war. Yeah.
Started the war. Yeah. I didn't see them shooting any missiles into Russia. You know. He's just buying. He's just buying what Putin says to his people. And so I guess what happens is Trump is feeding it to our people, hoping they will be fed the same lies that Putin feeds his people. Yeah.
Can I throw this out? Alex, I was talking to Charlene earlier. I'm going to ask you this, and you guys can answer too. If this was World War II and Trump was our president, I don't think we ever would have got bombed for Pearl Harbor because he would be on the other side. He'd be with Japan and he'd be with Hitler. That's what I really think with this guy happens.
Well, Hitler's such a good, strong leader, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? You think I don't think we'd be in there.
Well, I don't know if we can make those suppositions because that was then and this is now, and this is a whole different world today than it was back then. You know, I mean, Hitler in his own country came to power because of the same stupid people that brought Trump to power in this country, the same mentality. Okay?
They were pretty much broke.
Yeah, but I mean, they thought that, they were so broke.
They were so broke. They were like destitute pretty much.
They were really destitute. And he came along and said, I'm going to take you out of this. You know.
Yep. And then he brought all his people in and he set up all his government.
And he
just like what's happening now.
Only his people who agreed with him and went with his dictation.
They all went all hail Hitler, and then next thing you know, they're in jail.
Just like Trump, I don't know how much Hitler was calling his own game. I wonder if there weren't other people there who were calling the shots as well.
And he was the orator, probably the guy to put him in the front.
He was the front man. Yeah.
I can see that.
Otherwise, he was a swell guy.
Yeah, misunderstood. That's all. Don't get on his bad side today. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Did you see Steve Bannon sneak in another Hitler salute?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bannon?
At CPAC.
Bannon did it. Okay.
Yeah, he snuck one in at the end of his little speech. We're supposed to not notice.
It's disgusting.
Was that after the chainsaw?
Yeah.
The chainsaw.
Bannon goes like this.
Yeah.
Well, that isn't what I meant. What I meant was, what's that over there?
Yeah.
I haven't got room in the frame to do it. What's that over there? Oh, I better not do it. Otherwise, people are going to take a screenshot of it and then say, look, Alex did the Hitler salute.
He did it. Ray, you're right.
What?
They got kids doing the
he did the salute, Bannon.
Oh, you're looking at it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you motherfucker, really?
Yeah.
I have no fucking remorse.
Well, Bannon, I don't think has any big part of this new administration.
How do you do that?
You know, it's those Projects 2025 people who are running the game right now, and they're telling him what to do. Sure. He's just doing their bidding. You know, you notice all the things he signed, all the proclamations, whatever they call those things.
Executive order.
Executive order. He's got some guy handing them to him, and he's explaining them to him as to what they are.
He doesn't know what he's signing until they tell him.
Yeah, and then he goes, "Ooh, that's good." That's terrific. Oh, I like that. How, you know. And,
you know what's scary about Musk is, you know, Hitler was appointed like Musk.
Yeah.
Without being voted.
Hitler was appointed. Hitler wasn't elected? He was elected.
No, he was originally appointed by the chancellor.
Oh, he appointed by the chancellor to be the prime minister or whatever.
Yeah, and then he worked his way into.
And then he had to run for chancellor.
Yeah. But he solidified his position in this very similar way to what Musk is doing.
Well, the difference is, though, that Musk really has a created position that never existed before, where there was a
and didn't have to swear to uphold the Constitution either.
It's even worse in a way.
Yeah. Well, you know. Well,
He's not a government employee.
See, I wish I believed in God, and then I could say, well, in the end, God will get him, but I don't. So it's a real problem, you know. And I feel God has other things to do, but he obviously isn't doing anything for the poor children of Gaza, you know. When things like that happen, I just say, "There's your God, right there," you know. Tell me, there's a God. You know. How many of you are believers here? Anybody? Well, what a bunch of atheists we got hanging around here.
Well, I prayed for my mom not to him.
You have your hand kind of moving, Patrick.
Yeah, I go on a whole spiel, but I don't bring religion into things because a lot of people, just like when I hear people talk shit about the United States, people go deaf when they hear me talk about my religious beliefs. So I don't shove my religion up people's ass, and you know that. So.
Well, I do, because if they don't believe in my God, I don't want to even have anything to do with them.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, no, I agree. You have the right to believe whatever you want to believe, and you have the right for me not to question that to you because it's your belief, you know, because I honor you. I like you as a person, Patrick, so I'm not going to attack your beliefs. But
well, even if you did attack me, I'd just put you in the same category as the Democrats that are people that don't like the national anthem now because Trump's in office. I just don't hear what you say.
Well, let me talk to you for a moment about the national anthem, okay? To begin with, it's a crappy song, just for starters. To begin with, it was a mashup. It was a mashup of a poem that Francis Scott Key wrote and a bar song, a beer song, called "Anacreon in Heaven." Okay, right. And it didn't become the national anthem till the mid-20s, maybe early 30s, maybe if anybody can find a date on it.
I'm going to look at it now.
It wasn't that we didn't have a national anthem at that point. And all of a sudden, one day they made that the national anthem. Well, what makes it so special? If they didn't think to make it a national anthem earlier, in spite of the fact that it existed since the attack on Fort McHenry, you know, why should we even honor it? You know, I just think if you're going to have, if we were to have a national anthem, "This Land Is Your Land" would be a great national anthem. And I mentioned that to Pete Seeger. I mentioned that to Pete Seeger once, and Pete said to me, "No, I wouldn't want it to be the national anthem." And I said, "Why?" And he said, because he said, "I don't want that song to be used as people march off to war."
I can see that.
You know?
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, but the trouble with the national anthem is it's just nothing but bombs bursting in air and war and fire and, you know.
And too high to
you know, rather than some
country came to be. So it's appropriate.
And I'd say we could make it, you know, God bless my country, 'tis
America
of thee.
the Beautiful.
My country, 'tis of thee. But the damn British stole it from us. So yeah.
America the Beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, what are you having trouble putting that thing on there, Jeff?
No. Getting a little warm.
It kind of looked like you were getting ready to be the Unabomber or something like that.
No. Yeah. I'm gonna survive.
Ah, boy. Well, another week, another bunch of this frustration. But thank you so much, Jeff, for being here, and thanks to Kevin for joining us as well. Josh wrote me a note last night and said, "You're not doing the show tonight? I've got the night off. I can do 2 nights this week." And I went, "Well, you know, I'm a little on the sick side." So thank you anyway for being here tonight, Josh. We really appreciate your input, as always. Thanks to the lovely and attractive Charlie Wallace and Brian. Thank you, Brian. Where's Adrian? Is she there? Is she there? Got to say goodbye to Adrian. Oh, now she doesn't want to. Oh, okay. There she is with the cat. Okay. What's the cat's name?
Armin.
What did she say? What did she say?
Armin Van Buren is the DJ.
Armin Van Buren. Okay. Patrick, great to have you here. I know you don't do it often, but I hope you had a good time tonight. And Tony, thank you so much. Thanks to Charlene Martinez from New Jersey. And thanks to Ray. Ray, thank you very much out there in Hawaii. Nice to see you. Anyway.
Aloha.
Yeah, aloha. Everybody, why don't you give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you as we say goodnight for tonight. And that's it. And that's our program for this evening. We'll be back again on Monday with the pop-up show, which you will love and have a good time listening to. And then we'll be back here doing the Ramble next Wednesday night. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, of course, tell her I love her, okay? Good night, everybody.